Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to break down Module 3, which is all about the social and ethical responsibilities of management. Our goal is to get you fully prepared for your exam on this topic.
Here's our plan. We're going to start with the basics, the key terms. Then, we'll explain the concepts in more detail. After that, we'll compare similar ideas and give you some alerts for your multiple choice questions. We'll finish with some practice questions and a quick summary of the most important points. Okay, first things first, let's get our key terms straight. Understanding these definitions is the foundation for everything else in this module.
So, what is social responsibility? Well, you can think of it as the duty or the obligation that a company has to be a good citizen. It goes beyond just making a profit. Now, if responsibility is the duty, then social responsiveness is the action. It's how a company actually follows through on that duty, putting policies into practice.
So, how do we check if a company is really doing what it claims? That's where a social audit comes in. It's kind of like a report card for a company's social and ethical behavior. It measures if their actions actually match their promises. And finally, social stakeholders. This is a very important term. These are all the different people and groups that have a stake or an interest in how a company operates. It's not just the owners, it's everyone from employees and customers to the government and society as a whole. Okay, now that we have those definitions down, let's build on them. We'll explore some of the core arguments and models you need to know for this module.
So why should a business be socially responsible? Well, there are several strong arguments. For one, it's good for business in the long run. It can create a better public image, and it might even help avoid strict government rules. The basic idea is that what's good for society can also be good for the company.
On the other hand, there are arguments against social responsibility. The classic argument is that a business's main and only job is to make a profit for its owners. Some say that focusing on social issues just adds costs and creates distractions. Now, this is a very important model for your exam. It classifies management ethics into 3 types. First, you have moral managers who try to follow ethical rules. Then you have immoral managers who intentionally break the rules. And in the middle, you have amoral managers who simply don't think about ethics at all. And a manager's ethical choice isn't so simple. It's often influenced by a mix of different things. As you can see here, their personal values, the company's culture, and just how serious the issue is. All of these play a role in their final decision.
Okay, let's move on. This next section is incredibly important for your exam, especially for multiple choice questions. We're going to highlight some common areas of confusion that you might see.
Here's a perfect example. Exam questions love to test the difference between social responsibility and social responsiveness because they sound so similar. Let's make it really clear. Social responsibility is about the long-term ethical obligation, what a company should do. Social responsiveness is more about the short-term practical action, what a company can do right now in response to a need. Just remember, obligation versus action.
And here is a huge MCQ alert: the difference between amoral and immoral management. The key word to remember is intent. An immoral manager knows something is wrong and chooses to do it anyway. An amoral manager, on the other hand, just doesn't consider the ethical part of the decision.
All right, I think we're ready to test our knowledge. Let's walk through a couple of exam-style questions to see how these concepts are applied.
Okay, take a look at this question. A company sponsors a charity, but only after social media pressure. What do you think that is? Think about the trigger for the company's action.
The correct answer is B, social responsiveness. Why? Because the company is reacting or responding to an external pressure. That action-oriented response is the definition of responsiveness.
It's also really important to understand why the other answers are wrong. It's not A, because responsibility is a general duty, not a reaction. It's not C, because moral management describes a person's style, not one action. And it's not D, because a social audit is a tool for measurement.
Okay, here's the next question. A manager knows about pollution from their factory and ignores community protests because it's cheaper to keep polluting. What kind of management is this? Focus on the manager's awareness and their final choice.
The correct answer is D, immoral management.
The key here is that the manager knows about the harm. They are aware of the protests, but they actively choose the unethical path for their own benefit, which is the definition of immoral management.
And again, let's look at why the others are incorrect. It's not amoral because an amoral manager might not even realize it's an ethical issue. This manager knows. It's certainly not moral management. And social stakeholder theory is a broad concept, not a management style. Okay, let's bring it all together. We'll finish with a quick summary of the most important high-yield points that you absolutely must remember for your exam.
If you remember nothing else, please remember these points. Social responsibility is the obligation. Social responsiveness is the action. Know the 3 types of management: moral, immoral, and amoral, and especially the difference between the last 2. And finally, remember who stakeholders are. These concepts are very likely to appear in your exam. Good luck with your studies.